Hello, Flosstube. It is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, and I am coming here to show you everything that I worked on in September. So I have some finishes. I also brought a bunch of my Halloween previously finished objects to show you because I'm about ready to start putting all that out to get ready for Halloween. So let's get started. I'll show you all my previously finished, I'm going to move my notes out of the way for the moment, objects first. So I saw, Homemade on the Ridge, maybe. I'll try and remember to tag her. She had purchased this Halloween house from Michael's, so I ordered one. And what I have found that most of my current fully finished things are a little big. So I need to make some smaller things to go in here. But I'll show you what I've got in here right now. Excuse me, this is from Just Nan, and I'm sorry, some of these are so old I have no idea, and it just has this paper thing that it sits in. Now this is one of the first things I finished, so it is not stuffed nearly enough, but let me just show you all the sides. And sorry, I don't know the name of it. It came with this little pin that goes in there. And then the bottom just has this little guy on there. And I think it's on a picture of this Plus fabric, but again, it's been so many years, I don't know what it is. And then this is another Just Nan. I think this has, I may not have quite, well, yeah, I guess so. This was like a whole series of little tins, and then the topper, and then there was a little thing to put inside of it. So this looks like it's a little needle case. Again, stitched so many years ago, I can't tell you, other than I know it's Just Nan. And then I've got 3 things that were part of a finishing class that I went to in Tulsa at the Silver Needle. So Magic by Mona, I think, is what she kind of calls her finishing, but this was one of them. Couldn't tell you anything about the designs, but this is just a little trifold that you tie together at the top with the ribbon. So you can untie those and it will lay flat. And this little guy, that might be a Lizzie Kate freebie, I can't remember. So it's a box out of cardboard, and we put batting on, not the bottom, but the rest of the sides. And then this bow on top. And then we put little pins with beads on them in the bottom to be little feet to stand on. And then the other one was this owl. And so they had the little cauldron and this netting for us. And I think we had to have all these pre-stitched because the class was doing the finishing itself. And so this is just some ribbon that you pin, that you ruche and pin on there. And I can't tell you what that design is either. And then this guy, I don't know who this is either, but this was a big one that I did a stitch along at my LNS here in Little Rock, shepherd's needle. And we just stitched all these sections, and then we got together, let's see if I've shown them all to you. Oh, there's Ghost. All right, I think you've seen them all. Nope, there's Candy. You've seen the crow. Okay, I think that's all. You stitch all these separate pieces, and then you stitch them together, and then you stuff them. And this one, I was there at the shop, and I was stuffing it, and I said, okay, is that good enough? And our instructor was like, nope, put more in there. And then I would stuff it some more, and I said, that surely is good enough. Nope, put some more in there. So it is really stuffed well. So it usually sits in my dough bowl, so I'll have to figure out, I may get a candle, I've seen them on candle pedestals, or I may have one I can use. So those are my previously finished non-framed things. Let me kind of set this out of the way a little bit. And let me show you my framed things. Some of these have years on them, some of them don't. This is a Lizzie Kate. And I think she did a re-release of it. I think it's Lizzie Kate. Years ago, because she's no longer designing. This is one of my favorites. This was a 3-part mystery. Oh dear, there we go. From Lizzie Kate. And these I had professionally framed. I need to start figuring out, sorry, I have to reach over, how to frame myself because it's so expensive. I'm not sure who this is. Let's see if it says. I did this one in 2013. It's a fun one. It's got these fun buttons on it too. This one doesn't have any glass. The others do. And this might be AB Designs, Brecken. And it's got this really cool spider with the wire legs and some star buttons. This one I did in 2009. I've been stitching for a long time, 40 years probably. This is a shepherd's bush. I did this one in 2007. It's just an alphabet for Halloween. It's really cute. This is another Lizzie Kate. It might have been a mystery. I don't know. Okay, between the chandelier and the ring light, this one is being challenging. Sorry. And then the last one is, let's see if it says when I did this one, 2017. The last one is actually one that my mom made for me. And it is, I think it's Judith Kirby. I don't know where the pattern is. I know these are hard to come by. But it's one that she made for me in 2003. And it's even more precious now. We lost her last December, so it's even more precious to have something that she made for me. And she did. She used to say, "Are you sure you don't mind?" Because she always stitched on Ada and I stitch on linen. And I said, "Mom, I don't mind. You made it for me. Of course I don't care." All right, I'm going to pause so I can put all this stuff away, and then we'll start looking at the finishes and the whips that I've been working on in plans. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I will also put in a little video here of some other fall finishes that I have on the wall already that I hung up for September. I didn't want to pull them all off the wall, so I'll just do a little video and insert that here so you can see those. Okay, now we're ready for finishes. I don't have any FFOs from September, but I do have 3 finishes. So the first one is Oops-a-Daisy. This is by Hands-On Design. This was a freebie if you did the Spring Fling, I think it was called, from Lindy Stitches. And this is on Deadly Nightshade from BCD. And somewhere I wrote down the abbreviations that my LNS uses, and I don't know where I put them. But here it is. So cute. And so you back stitch all around it, and so then you'll stitch up all the sides and it'll make a little box when I fully finish it, whenever that will be. I need to just take like a weekend and fully finish a bunch of things. All right, I'm gonna put some of these over there. And then the next one is, and so the Oops-a-Daisy and actually all 3 of these were a part of my temperature stitching for September. And I decided the last week of September, I was so close on some of these that I was gonna not do temperature stitching and just try and finish them out. So that's why I was able to get these finished. So this is Seasons of the Heart Summer. This is by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle. And it's on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha. And I have, in the book they give you little, somewhere in here I have them, I think. Yeah, here they are. Little paper seasons that you can put here. But I found these, I'm thinking the rectangle ones. So they may be a little small, and so I may need to carry the border over a little bit. And that's always an option. She said if you didn't want to put those things that were included in the book on there, you could just stitch the border across. So I may have to, because I finished this one and the spring one, but I may have to stitch a little bit more of those borders just so the those little seasons don't get lost. And then finish number 3 is Honeybees and Stitching Please from Primrose Cottage. And this is on 32 count grog from Be Stitch Me. It's a Lugana. And there is that one. So that one will be a decent sized pillow if I make it into a pillow, or I could put it on a piece of wood, or I don't know. Nothing probably will get done with it this year, because I would like to get a bunch of bee things to put up in August. So I've got some time before I need it fully finished. All right, those are my finishes. So then let's do Whip Go. So if you have been with me this whole year, I started out with 2 Whip Go boards, a full coverage one and a fancy lady one. And that was just too much with the Heaven and Earth Stitch Along and other things I wanted to do. So I kind of mushed them together. And so each square now has a full coverage and a fancy lady in it. And so when the numbers are called, I get to choose which one I want to do. But I try and do 1 fancy lady and 1 full coverage. So for last month, it was Fairy Autumn Glow. And this is what she will look like when she's done. And she's a Nora Corbett, so she's a little bit smaller. She doesn't have any water lilies. She doesn't have as many beads. You can hear them rattling in there probably. And I got 570 stitches done on her. This is 32 count Beach Walk. It's the called for. I think it's a Witchelt. Yeah. So that's where she is. That skirt's getting close to being done, but maybe I'll bring her back out in November. All right. Let's see if I can do this without making as big a mess. Probably not. And then my full coverage, I hadn't worked on this one for a while, so I was really excited to get to work on it, is the Grand Library. Artwork is Amy Stewart. And it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I don't know why we always fold these so that all the stitching is way on the inside. We have to completely unfold them and refold them. And I got 603 stitches done on this one. And I will put a picture in of what it's going to look like. But this is where I am now. So I worked in here. I really kind of filled out that. I had some part threads, so I worked those in. I'm no longer doing the Royal Rose. I just decided I didn't want to try all that parking anymore. So I really would like to work on this some more. I don't know when that will be, but we'll see. And I have decided, I mean, I'll do a plans video later in the year, but I think I've decided I'm not going to do Whip Go next year. I would rather just be able to work on whatever I want to and not feel like I have to work on something every month. So if a game comes along where it's like, you know, work on all your whips or whatever, then I can do it and I don't have to worry about also getting Whip Go done. Okay, that was Whip Go, and then temperature stitching. Here, that's over here. I have so many notes. From September, Only one of them didn't get called at all, and that was Dressmaker's Daughter. That was number 0. So temperature stitching, if you're not familiar with it, you pick out 5 or 10. I had been doing 5 and now I've been doing 10, and assign a project to each digit 0 through 9. And then whatever the high, for me, whatever the high temperature is, the last digit of that, that's the project I stitch on that day. I used to wait and look at the day before's and then stitch on the next day, and that was just too much. So now I just do Sunday afternoon, I look for the next week, write them all down. If it's not exact, it doesn't matter. It's just a way to pick whips, so it doesn't have to be accurate. That's what this next group is the temperature stitching. So this first one is Betsy's Halloween Basket, and it got called a couple of times. And I did 256 stitches on it, and this is on 32 count 18th century blackboard. Blackboard, I think it's R&R. And here is where we are on this one. Such bright, pretty colors. I really love this. So I worked over in this area here. So this one will stay as a part of temperature stitching. When we get to plans, I'll tell you everything, but my temperature stitching for October is going to be just Halloween. All right, and then for number 2, it was Seasons of the Heart. I've already shown you that. I finished that one. I did do 736 stitches on that. So that was last week where I was trying to finish up some projects. It didn't get called that many times. And then this is Lolly's Crows and Candy Corn by Brenda Gervais. And I don't know what this is on. Let's see. I tried to make sure I had project cards in all of my bags, so hopefully I know here. 32 count light mocha from Witchelt. So here's what this is. So I've just been filling in the jack-o'-lantern. So I have that, and then I have, I guess I could have shown you what it's going to look like. So I have to finish filling him in, which is still a decent amount. And then I have to do this handle, and then there's a few more things, like some little white spots, stars or something, like little stars, yeah, on both sides that I have to do. And I had to look up, because I'm like, why does this say lollies? I understand lollipops, candy corn, I understand, but I was like, why does it say crows? There aren't any crows in this. Well, these little black are little black candies that are called crows. So if you wondered why it said crows, that's why. Those black candies are crows. Did I tell you what I stitched on this? 228. So it got called a couple of times. All right, and then the next temperature stitch is Spring Alphabet Garden. And I did work on this some extra last week to see if I could finish it, and I just ran out of time. Well, this week, I guess, the first part of this week too. This is a Jeanette Douglas. This was part of a class I took at my LNS. Sorry, that's probably really crinkly. And so we got all sorts of stuff in the class. And then this is the set we got. So this is what I'm working on. And then we also have the pattern to do all 3 of those too. Then we also got like a scissor, like a spool that you can put scissors in the top that we can put this on. So I'm going to try and figure out when I get it finished if I can make it so it's interchangeable, so I can put all of the seasons on there. But this is where I am on this. So this one I did 619 stitches, and it's almost done. Whoops. It's almost done over here, but then there's a border, like a satin stitch border that goes at the bottom, so I'll have to do that. And this is on 36 count Valley Forge from Needle and Flax. So I don't know when it will come back out again either, since I've kind of moved on to fall, and then after, or Halloween, and then fall, and then it'll be Christmas, and so maybe a while before it comes back out. All right, and then the next one is Halloween and cross stitch. I'll show you what it will look like. This is by Kyori Betakori. I never know quite how to say that name. It's a big one. Let's see if it says on the back. No. Oh, but I do have I should have a project card that tells me. 210 by 240. And this is on 32 count antique lace by hand dyed by Stephanie. And this is what I have done total. And I was working up here. I finished this spool and started this spool. So I did 131 stitches. So it only got called once. That one will also be a part of temperature stitching for October. So some of these, when I go over my plans, I won't pull them back out since I just showed them to you. But then I have some other ones, some other rips, and a couple of new starts that I'm gonna do. So many things to stitch. All right. The next one was Oops a Daisy, which I already showed you. I did 459 stitches on that. And then Autumn Alphabet was number 7. I did 520, wait, I got ahead of myself. Here it is. 525 stitches on it. This is what it will look like when it's finished. It's a Lizzie Kate one. So I have finished all of the other seasons. And I have the summer and the winter mounted, and I switch them out. And the spring one I don't have mounted, and this one I don't have close to being done. This is on, I don't know. Do I have it on my card? I probably don't. Oh, I do. 32 count clay from Witchelt. And did I tell you how many I did? I did 525. So it must have gotten called several times. So that's where I am on that. When I first started this, I did this, I think in August also as temperature stitching. All I had done was like the letter M. So the rest of that I've put in with just temperature stitching. And my temperature stitching is just 100 stitches. Close to it. If it's taken a long time and it's taking more than an hour, then I may stop, but that's my goal. All right, the next one was Honeybees. That one I already showed you. That was one of my finishes. I did 634 stitches on that. The next one is Checkered Halloween. This is an old pattern. And from M Designs. So I've had this one a long time. And I am doing it on the 28 count straw gingham. And on this one, oh, I have a hanging thread. Sorry about that. I did 297 stitches. And I did work on this when we were babysitting. I don't know where the best place for that thread is. So that it may not have gotten called more than once or twice for temperature stitching. But I'm working on the cauldron, so there's flames underneath of it. All right, that is all my temperature stitching. So then I have just some other projects that I worked on to show you. So my Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along. And I'll put a picture in of what it's going to look like when it's done. So this month I did 4,787 stitches. And here is where I am. This is on 28 count, easy count, Lugana. And so I've been working in here. I almost have, I think the 3rd page is like right here. And then this will be the 4th page. And if I want to get the other stitch alongs, I have to have 6 pages done by the end of the year. So that's why I've been trying to put some extra effort into it to see if I can do that. I would like to. There are several other ones that I really liked. So I would like to get all of them if I can. All right, and then, oh, I told you. For Gridiron Grind, this is a game in Full Coverage Fanatics. And you pretty much, you're associating a project with football or multiple projects. And it's pretty much up to you what you want to stitch, what you want to stitch for. I picked the Chiefs, that's my team. I've been a Chiefs fan since I was a little girl. I grew up in Kansas, so that's the closest team to me. And so I am just doing 10 stitches per point that they score. Win or lose, doesn't matter. I don't not do anything for the opponent, just the Chiefs. So my project is Quick Stitch Psyche's Butterflies. So artwork is by Josephine Wall, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I have to find it on my list, 1,021 stitches done. Just stitching on it for the Chiefs, and it is at 19,356 stitches done out of 19,610. So it is 98.7% done. It is so close. So I just have this corner. So there's only 254 stitches left. So depending on how many points this Chiefs score this weekend, it's possible it'll be a finish this weekend. That would be fun. If not this weekend, for sure the next weekend. On the Heaven and Earth Design style, I forgot to tell you, I'm at 26,101 stitches out of 85,170. And that's total. I loaded the whole thing in, so that's total stitches for the project. So that puts me at 30.65%. And then for the Grand Library, I'm at 7,701 stitches out of 402,780. So that's just 1.91%. So long ways to go on that one. All right, let's see, what else did I work on? I worked on, this was a new stitch along. So this is why I think I don't want to do Whip Go next year, because, you know, stitch alongs come along and I want to do them, like the Extraordinary Birds. I've gotten behind on that and I haven't worked on it for a while, and I still want to finish it. But this is the Satsuma Street Stitch Along Holiday House. So I don't have a picture of what it's going to look like. This is on 32 count raw natural from Swagart, right? I think it's Swagart. Yeah. And this is how much I have done. So part one is the sleigh and the steps and the nutcracker. So I haven't finished part one. Part two is already out. I'll try and put a picture in of what parts 1 and 2 look like, but it's got a window here with a tree inside and some elves decorating it. And you probably won't be able to tell. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shake you. The gold that I'm using is a Petite Treasure braid, and then the white, when it's snow, it's a strand of the white DMC and a strand of Krynic blending filament. I think it's 32 is that pearly white one. So, and my nutcracker needle minder probably came from Gina's, but I couldn't swear to it. So again, that's another one I want to do some work on. It's hard to find the time, especially with the Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along. You know, if I really am going to try and get those 6 pages done, I have to really be concentrating on that. All right, and then the last one that I did some stitches on, this is, I'll have to put a picture in of what it's going to look like. I think it's just a mock-up picture, but this is for my granddaughter, who is due at the end of this month. So it's going to be her birth sampler. And this is on 32 count Me Amore from Fortnite Fabric. I was in their Fabric of the Month club for a little while, and then I just had to get out. I just couldn't be in too many clubs. And now I don't think they make fabric anymore. And I did 320 stitches. So before I had the yellow branches done, so I did this time. So I need to be working on it some more too. She'll be here before I know it, and I won't have her birth sampler done. I mean, I can't completely finish it till she's born because I have to know her birthday and her weight and that stuff. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything. That is everything I worked on in September. So let me, hang on, I'm just gonna pause a minute. I'm gonna swap these out and then we'll talk about plans. Okay, I'm back. Time for plans. So I am, as I mentioned, for temperature stitching, I'm gonna do Halloween. So I'll go through what each number is, and some of them you've already seen, and then I'll show you the ones that you haven't seen. I have a couple of new starts in here. So 0 is Betsy's Halloween Basket. That is from Pansy Patch, I believe. You already saw that one. 1 is Lolly's Crows and Candy Corn from Brenda Gervais. You saw that. 2 is Halloween and Cross Stitch. Sorry, I've got my notes down here is why I'm looking down there. That was Kiori Badakori, I think. 3 is Checkered Halloween. That is M Designs. 4 is a new start, and I get to start it today, assuming I have time. This is Halloween Alphabet by Primrose Cottage. Isn't that adorable? And I'm going to do it on, here it is. I bought fabric for several things. 32 count vintage country mocha with the called for, I think it's, yeah, I think they're all weeks. Oh, there's a couple, so Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works, so the called for. So that will be fun. I get to start that today. Gotta leave that bag out because there's more in there. That was number 4. Number 5 is Bat Banner. So this is one, oh goodness, how long ago did I start this? Let's see if I know. October 2012, so a long time ago. So this is Alessandra Adelaide. This is what it will look like when it is done, although I am not doing it on orange fabric. I'm doing it, I think this is a Picture This Plus, but I don't have what it is. But this is really a fun one to work on. Oh, it's really wrinkly. I think I can just hold it like this. There we go. So that is where I am. You'll notice it is kind of close on this side. When I started this, I did not take into account the bat wings coming outside of this rectangle. So, but I mean, I think it'll still be fine. So it's still got a decent amount to do, but it's fun. So hopefully it will get called. I can tell you after I go through these what's called for the rest of this week. All right, I may have to iron that before I work on it again. With that big crease in the middle of it. So that is number 5. Number 6 is I bought fabric for several smalls. This is a book that came out last year, I think it was. So this is, if I can get it out. I have too many things in here. 15 Spooky Smalls from Primrose Cottage. So I bought fabric for several. I bought fabric for this one. That will be the first one when this book gets called. And for that little cauldron. And for this. Hocus Pocus. So I have fabric for all 3 of those. I don't have any thought that I'll get all 3 done, but I did want to be sure that I had them. Okay. Now that needs to come out of there and go into haul. No wonder that bag felt full. Okay. That is number 6. So number 7 is Halloween in the City. You've already seen that one. Number 8 is another new start. No, I'm sorry. You haven't seen Halloween in the City. I'm sorry. Hang on. This is this Madame Chantilly or no? This is Croquette a Go-Go. So this is what it will look like when it's finished. I just love this. And I am doing this on 32 count vintage country mocha. And And this is where I am right now. It's really fun. I hope it gets called a lot so I can work on it some more. And I may, if some of these get close, do the same thing like I did this month, where at the end of the month I decide not to go with what the temperature is, but just try and get some finishes. Because it would be nice to get some of these finished. This one will not be one of those. It's a big one. That was number 7. All right, sorry. Put my paper back in there. It's probably very crinkly. Number 8 is going to be a new start. And this is Sampler Holidays Halloween. Oops. By Blueberry Ridge. Now this fabric is amazing, but it doesn't come in 32 count. So my friends that got this fabric in 40 count. I'm like, I want to enjoy my stitching. I'm not going to enjoy it if I do it on 40 count. So I got, picture this, plus Mirage, and then I picked up a Witching Hour, a Gentle Arts. So that's what I'm going to do mine in. So it'll still be fun. Not quite as variegated, you know, different colored as the other one, but I think it will still look nice. So hopefully that will get called so I can work on it. And then the last one for temperature stitching for number 9 is my Happy Halloween stitch along. This is historical samplers from 2024. Yeah, I started this in July of 2024. This is on 32 count lilac, hand dyed by Stephanie. And this lilac never shows up very well. It is just a nice light lilac. So this is the width of it and the length of it. So I just have to fill in the rest of this. And I bought the one from this year, but I haven't started it because I wanted to get this one done before I started another one. So hopefully that will get called. I can put some good work in on it. All right, so that is my temperature stitching. And then I'll also for WIPGO, let me show you those. So the full coverage one is Beachcomber's Bounty. So I'll put a picture in of what it's going to look like. And show you where I am on this one. I haven't quite got all my parked threads worked in on this one. I'm back to diagonal. So this is where I'll be starting from on this one. So I don't know if I'll work those parked threads in or just work on the diagonal and work them in as I get to them. I'm not sure. That will be my full coverage for WIPGO, which I'm excited about. I haven't worked on it for a while either. And I have plans to start another full coverage, which is crazy, but it's okay. And then the Fancy Lady for WIPGO is Red Sugar. This is another Nora Corbett, so it's a smaller one. And she is on the call for 32 count milk chocolate linen from Witchelt. And this is my starting point for her. So not much done on her. Hopefully I'll get a chance to get some done. Well, 500 stitches is what I'm supposed to do. For WIPGO, I do 5 hours or 500 stitches. So if the full coverage is very confetti heavy and it's going to take me 15 hours to get 500 stitches, I can stop at 5 hours. And then the other things I have planned, the Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along that I showed you, I'll be working on that still, hopefully getting closer to getting my 6th page is done. Gridiron Grind, so hopefully I'll finish Quick Stitch Psyche's Butterflies this week. And I think I put, if I finished it, I would do Riverwalk Charm. That's my next farthest along full coverage, besides the Heaven and Earth Stitch Along. And then I'll try and work on my granddaughter's birth sampler. And then I don't need to show you anything on this, I don't have anything started. If they have another stitch along for Stitches So Beautiful for October, and it's one that I really want, then I am going to probably start this. This is Snow Queen, and I don't have Mystic Vision Gallery. So I have the paper with the floss on it, so I could look at it there. This was a designer, artist that was on sale for the month of September, and I picked up several of their charts. And this one I just loved, and I'm like, I really want to start on this one. And I needed to take a break from Woman in a Field of Flowers. So if they have one this month, I know the owner of it has been having some problems with health issues and stuff. So, you know, completely understand if it doesn't happen. But if it does and it's one that I want, then I'll probably be starting Snow Queen. Okay, I think that's it. I think oh no, it's not. Haul. All right, so that's all the stitching plans and what I've done. So if you don't care about haul, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in a month. If you would like to see what I picked up, here we go. And this is like a month's worth of stuff. I have stuff from my LNS, and I placed an order with 123 Stitch. So this is a new hands-on design, Murder in the Garden. So I need to get on Etsy. She said that, I think it's Lady Dot, has some of these pumpkin stems that you can purchase from her. And I went ahead and bought the smaller fabric. I didn't want to do the really big one. So this is Butterscotch Cookies, hand dyed by Stephanie, 32 count. And then the pins that go with it. Trying to think if I got another one of hers. I don't know. We Santa 2025 from Heart and Hand. I don't think I've shown you that one. I had a stack and I'm like, oh, I don't remember. This was another, so that sampler Holidays Halloween, that's going to be one of my new starts. This is the Christmas one. So I haven't pulled any fabric or floss for this yet, but I did go ahead and get the chart. Oh, here, I knew there was another hands-on design. This is Harvest of Blessings. And I didn't get any fabric for this yet. It was Colonial Parchment from Hand Dyed by Stephanie is the called for, and I was in her Fabric of the Month Club for a while, so I wanted to check and see if I had any of that. All right, and then because I had those holiday ones, a very helpful lady at my LNS said, oh, well, we have some of the seasons ones. So they had the spring and the summer seasonal ones, but they didn't have the other two, so I ordered from 123 Stitch the fall and the winter. So I'll get to pick out fun fabric and floss for those. And then I hadn't purchased this one, but I'd seen somebody on Flosstube, I don't remember who, but this is Salem's Sister Stitchery from Primrose Cottage. And I went ahead and picked up, yeah, Vintage Country Mocha for it. So it's ready to start whenever I want to. I got one of the new Tiny Model. I think this is a new one. I think it was a new one. I don't see the copyright, but fall bell jar. Look at that hedgehog. If my mom was still with us, I would stitch this for her. She loved hedgehogs. He's so cute. And then this is a new Heart and Hand Harvest etchings. So I have all the other etchings. Have I stitched any of them? No. Will I stitch them someday? I hope so. I want to stitch everything I buy. I need to live till I'm 1,000 years old. I think this is a new Tiny Modernist, the Witch's Kitchen. How fun is that? I doubt I'll start it this year as much as I want to, but I need to get some of these other Halloween ones finished. I've been trying to, I can't start something new unless I finish 2 projects. Trying. This is a new Hello from Liz Matthews, House on Pumpkin Hill. Is that not adorable? Look at all those pumpkins. And all the leaves around the outside. I bet that'll take some time. A lot of color changing on that. This is Hello from Liz Matthews and Kathy Barrick collaboration holly wreath. My mom loved cardinals too. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. And then I'm in the Tiny Modernist. I don't have part 1 here. I can't remember if I showed that to you. From Crazy Annie's, the Snow Globe series. So here's part 2. The bear. And part 3, a llama. They're adorable. Okay, now that's it. That's everything. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you the first part of November to show you what all Halloween stitching I got done. And hopefully I've got at least 4 pages, 4.5 pages of my Having an Earth Design Stitch Along done. That's my goal. We'll see. All right, thank you for joining me. Bye. Hello. So this is a little video I'm going to try and do of my fall finishes. Just how I have them displayed. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try and just walk around or pause in between. I'll probably pause because it might be too much to be moving. But this is my little tiered tray. And so I have in here, this is the one of the monthly minis. I think that's the September one from Primrose Cottage. This is an old Just Nan I've done years ago. This you probably saw earlier if you watched me. This is Hands-On Design, the class that I went to at my local needle workshop. And that's an old one. I think it's a freebie. Maybe Lizzie Kate, but I'm not sure. And then there was a whole series of these little scissor. So they came with the scissors. So that's Autumn. And I don't remember who those are by. And then I just added, whoa, things are falling. I'm still trying to figure out how to do these tiered trays. And I just added some gourds and pumpkins to it, but those are the stitching pieces there. All right, let me take you to the next spot. All right, this is Mirabilia. It's one of the kits, and I don't remember if it was Harvest or Autumn, but I bought it as a kit. I think you can get some of them now as patterns, but I had it years ago as a kit. And then I did this one. We're gonna get glare. Pumpkins, and I don't remember if that's a little house or a country cottage maybe, but that one is years ago. And then I will walk you real quick over because there's a couple more here. This is Plum Street, Hello Fall. And I love the frame on this one. Sorry, I'm trying to get it between the window and the light. It is hard to get without glare. And again, I don't know all of the fabric and everything that I did. Quick view of our outside. This is, I think it's Country Cottage. There's one for each season, and this is the only one I've done so far. And I think I have one more, so hang on. All right, and this is the last one I'm going to show you today. This is Adam's Family from Plum Street Samplers. This is one of my first attempts at doing something kind of fun as a finish. So that board is just either from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and it's just, I don't know if you can see, but it's, you know, just a board with a frame around it. It just comes plain like that. And then I added, this is a sticky board with fabric on it, and then did the stitched piece on top of that, and then added the fall foliage there. So, all right, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my fall finishes, and I will get this inserted into my regular Flosstube video, and I will see you next month.